From the cool to the epic to the downright broken, we've had some of the biggest updates to FGO to date. But with the year now behind us, what do we have to look forward to in 2023? Given the incredibly diverse pool of upcoming servants, we had to be extremely selective, basing them off of how often they'd actually be used and how effective they were in their respective niches.
That's a lot of damage!
Whether you're a veteran of the game, a total noob, or don't even play the game and just enjoy listening to my voice for some reason, just remember, no matter what some top 10 video out there tells you, no matter how much sync quartz you have, all the money in the world can't buy you the perfect girlfriend. But it can buy you waifus. We'll be including both rerun and new servants in the top 10 to give new players and unlucky veterans an insight into the best servants to date. Due to how many notable servants are getting rate-ups this year, we have a few honorable mentions, starting with Castoria. Okay, now technically Castoria would qualify for first place due to how broken she is compared to every other unit. However, there was a dilemma of having her possibly being number 1 every year, as she gets a rate up around June of 2023 and May of 2024. So, to alleviate this issue, we'll have her as a special mention, alongside other notable supports including Scotty, Nearbride, and Tamamo, with the note that Castoria provides the only form of unpierceable invincibility, while also being an incredible support for Art's teams and a decent support in general. Speaking of honorable mentions, we have Aresh, one of the best servant tubers around. She's also a servant who's able to 3-turn farm in the upcoming Buster meta, and also receives a buff to her NP around July of 2023, buffing her damage and providing a death protection niche, not to be confused with invincibility, as being killed to death and dying from being killed are two different things. Another honorable mention is Ms. Crane, who provides some crit buffs to the team, but is mainly used for buff stacking memes to make big Unga Bunga damage numbers in longer fights. With that said, let's carry on to the top 10 servants of 2023. Van Gogh, the tragic painter who can crit hard, empathize with the struggling artist, and maybe even lend an ear. When it comes to crit damage, Van Gogh is among the best there is. While many other servants have dabbled in crit damage buffs, Van Gogh takes it to another level, enabling some servants to deal noble phantasm levels of damage from a single crit. She can also serve as a support, DPS, or solo DPS, while also bringing a decent amount of survivability to a team for longer fights. Van Gogh's next banner will be around September of 2023. Much like Pokemon, some waifus can take on many forms. Ushi Wakamaru evolved into Summer Ushi, and Summer Ushi evolved into Adami Mami. Continuing the trend of heavy critters comes Taira no Kagekiyo, a servant who really hates Genji.
I require healing. I need healing. At times.
Taira is a boss specialized servant who brings some high crit damage buffs as well as a diversified survival skill set that makes her hard to kill. Taira plays a more selfish DPS role while maintaining the ability to thrive in a team or on her own, much like Van Gogh. However, one unique feature of hers is the ability to remove all buffs from a single enemy with her NP, guaranteeing her damage against most types of enemies. Taira will be getting a banner around late January of 2023. When it comes to boss fights, Taira will be sure to hit hard, crit hard, and look fine as hell doing so.
時これまで疑似失格並列接続暗黒太陽臨界狂乱怒涛悪霊作
In FGO, there's really only a couple niches any servant can fall under: a wave clearer, a boss fighter, or a supporter. And one of the few servants who's managed to go a step beyond a jack of all trades is Ashiya Douman. With a plethora of buffs, debuffs, a rare double guts ability, and a massive NP battery that allows him to 3-turn farm certain waves, Ashiya Douman makes for both an incredible support and main DPS for certain fights. The main drawbacks of Douman, however, are his conditional buffs and the fact that you'll find yourself waiting 10 years or so to use his skills again due to their massive cooldowns. Ashiya Douman's next banner will be around September of 2023. And if you're still not sold on the Douman train, he does have
ごちそうさまあ
真髄解明完成理念収束誕生技法臨界これが俺のつぶかり村正だ
It's hard standing out in an era where you have mecha Trojan horses, cute bunny girls, and femboys with enough monster energy to make anyone accept their newfound bromosexuality. But despite the plethora of arts farmers out there, Senji Muramasa stands out as a wave clearing and boss fighting specialized servant, with a kit built for insane crit damage, NP looping, and boss fighting. With his pierce invincibility and defensive hacks, Senji Muramasa is what you get when you try to make a one-size-fits-all servant that works, until it doesn't. While Pierce defense and invincibility cleaves through those bosses, certain gimmicks and future challenge quests prevent Muramasa from completely steamrolling over everything in the game. And when it comes to wave clearing, Muramasa's NP damage falls just below that of more universal arts farmers, such as Space Ishtar and Musashi Berserker, with the most similar servant to Muramasa being Okita's Saber Alter, who deals slightly less damage but generates far more crit stars, and can also bypass invulnerability buffs with her NP. However, Muramasa is still better suited for longer fights, as his synergy with Castoria and Tamamo allows for more consistent NP uptime, along with invincibility and skill cooldown reduction buffs. While Okita's Saber Alter synergy with Scotty Castor and in the future Scotty Ruler has some stall potential, but is better suited for shorter crit damage focus fights. But as with all things, it comes down to a matter of preference. Muramasa is the queen of all trades and king of none. But with the right supports, Muramasa can be one of the best picks for 90% of content you'll ever come across in FGO.
愛の世界燃える宇宙望むすべての家電となる集約
When introducing new arts loopers in 2023, the immediate thought is, why do I need any of these guys when I have Space Ishtar? Kama Avenger is one of the best wave clearers in FGO. On paper, her specs come as close to Space Ishtar's as anyone can get. Similar NP refund amounts, similar damage values, the only real difference is their farming times, which can be a game changer. Alright, we're gonna nerd out a bit here. Kama's 19-second fastest farm time per run means for those going for 1,000 or so lotto boxes, assuming an average about 2,807 runs to get from 0 to 1,000 lotto boxes, Kama takes about 15 hours less of continuous grinding compared to Space Ishtar to hit 1,000 lotto boxes. And for the econ nerds out there, the average US wage is currently $32.82 an hour according to the US Bureau of Labor Statistics, meaning using Kama over Space Ishtar yields the average employee the potential to make an extra $492.30 per lotto event. One thing to note is Kama Avenger will not be consistent, even at NP5 when farming level 90 plus nodes, as her damage is heavily reliant on landing the charm debuff, which has a chance of being resisted by most servant enemies. Though for level 90 nodes, she will do just fine at NP2. Aside from farming, Kama Avenger has a bit more survivability built into her kit, with her party-wide charm and 2-hit evade to keep her around for longer fights. Kama Avenger will be getting her first banner around September of 2023, and overall has been one of the fastest and easiest arts looping servants to use whenever you just need to use up some AP and carry on with your day.
これが本当の私始まりは牧場広がりは無限すべて我が心臓の望み主義ラクエーサー
For some, one of the biggest factors when it comes to rolling a servant is how long they stay viable for. It's easy to impulsively roll on a banner, watch the video to justify your life choices, and 6 months later be like,
I don't want to play with you anymore.
But in Space Ishtar's case, as a character who has received no buffs since her debut nearly 4 years ago, she stands out as an exception who has not only maintained but expanded upon her relevance throughout the meta cycles. Space Ishtar is able to take any card type she's given and push it to its highest potential, being able to 6E farm in an arts composition for maximum drop efficiency, or take a 50% MP charge CE and deal as much as 268,000 neutral damage per enemy at NP1, without having to worry about NP refund in the buster composition. Her skill set won't be perfect for every scenario, but when you do one job and do it this well, you don't need to be. Unfortunately, due to how long this video took to make, Space Ishtar's banner passed on January the 18th, but Space Ishtar still holds up for the foreseeable future and will be getting another raid up around September of 2024. So try not to wait till the last minute like this guy. Or if you do, well, I hear hyper skips give good luck. 3, 2, 1. Okay, what do we got?
いいでしょう。私の足元で許しを請います。落ちよ、ロードレスキャメロット。
Whether you enjoy games for the grind, the challenging content, or the characters, few servants cover all these aspects as well as Morgan. We could talk about how she does 265,000 damage per enemy at NP1. We could describe how in the right team comp she makes one of the greatest boss fighters through near infinite stalling and damaging capabilities. But the greatest thing about Morgan isn't in her stats or skills, but rather in the fact that she is your actual wife.
何しろ、私の夫なのですから。
Morgan genuinely is one of the best units for most content in the game, needing only a 50% starting NP charge CE to start 3-turn farming without worrying about NP refund. Plus, her overcharge effect from her NP when used with Castoria makes her nigh unkillable against most boss fights. Morgan will be getting her first banner around June of 2023, and a second banner 2 months later around August of 2023.
炎の息、鉄の翼、フォローハート、アレビオン。
Throughout the years, various servants have reigned through different metas. While many servants have maintained their relevance to an extent, it's hard to find a servant who not only plays into the meta, but continues to define it. Melusine's skill set covers a wide range of survivability and damage buffs, and takes the buster farming meta to its absolute limits, enabling her to 3-turn farm with no starting NP charge CE, and can even farm against her class's advantage at NP2. She can also loot with her single target arts NP against single enemy bosses, and can switch to her buster AoE NP when needed for the Pierce invincibility. Melusine is by far one of the most incredible DPS units to date, with her first banner coming around July of 2023 and her second banner around December of 2023. The power of Melusine cannot be overstated. Even if you're a Rin, Sakura, or Saber fan, the power of Melusine will help you achieve clear mind.
集いし夢の結晶が新たな進化の扉を開く。光さす道となれ。アクセルシンクロ。
彼方の空へ。お前はたとえ残骸であろうとも。
俺から言うべきことはもうない。
From a total 70% NP battery to an unprecedented NP damage multiplier, what used to take 30 turns of Merlin buff stacking now took 3 with Oberon. Suddenly, anyone with just a 10% NP charge skill was now able to farm with 2 Oberons, a K-scope, and a plug-suited 50% NP charging support. However, the effectiveness of a double Oberon setup versus a double Koyanskaya setup will vary depending on the main damage dealing servant. For the curious, I'll be releasing a more up-to-date Buster looping tier list similar to my Arts looping tier list later this year. Oberon's first banner will be around August of 2023. He won't be great for everything and will absolutely struggle in longer fights. But despite his flaws, he is an incredibly unique servant with a skill set unlike any other, setting a new bar in the support meta for years to come.
かくす
スタンバイスレイブゴー派手にやっておしまいなさい。これが鎌も重工の優秀兵79式鎌もタンクですの。
If you like girls who use guns, guns, and even more guns, might I suggest watching Licorice Recoil? When a game has been around for as long as FGO has, it can be difficult keeping its content feeling fresh without disrupting the careful balance between the old and the new. But that's exactly what Koyanskaya did. 2023 saw the rise of the Buster meta, with Koyanskaya leading the charge. Thanks to her NP battery, cooldown reduction, crit, and Buster buffs, many servants, such as Morgan and Melusine, would not be as effective were it not for Koyanskaya. Her general buffs aren't quite on the level of Oberon's, but her kit as a whole lends more utility to the team, especially for longer fights. Koyanskaya will debut around July of 2023. While the Buster meta isn't perfect, with most servants requiring a starting NP charge CE to farm, it opened the door to a new kind of meta without completely erasing the previous one, giving players more freedom over the meta than we've ever had before. 2023 was the year for FGO, with a new meta, new characters, and a new story that took the premise we had beyond our wildest expectations. Whether you play for the incredible story, the beautiful characters, or are just getting started, we'll all have plenty to look forward to in 2023. Hey guys, hope you enjoyed that video. Just wanted to take a moment to announce I've started a Patreon. If you want to support the kind of videos I've been making, I'll have the Patreon linked below. Hope you guys have a nice rest of your 2023, and I'll see y'all on the next one. Laters.